The biblical book of the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 12, describes a miracle involving Saint Peter, who was imprisoned by King Herod Agrippa. In jail, he was bound with 2 chains and guarded by 16 soldiers, 2 of them right next to him and others guarding the jail door. Herod wanted to bring Peter out in front of the people the next day to execute him, but that night suddenly an angel appeared, lighting up the jail cell. The angel woke up Peter and his chains fell off his arms. The angel guided Peter past the first 2 guards to the exit of the jail, where the door automatically opened for them and they walked out. 1 block away from the prison, the angel disappeared suddenly and Peter realized what had happened. This is all the information about this story provided in the Bible, and it leaves plenty of room for artistic freedom for artists painting this subject. For example, it is not known who the angel was, what the source of light was, and what happened exactly to the guards. The story of the liberation of Saint Peter has been popular among artists in history, and the most common elements are an elderly man, sometimes still with his arms in chains, sometimes already freed from the chains, the presence of an angel, the light that the angel generates during the night, and some sleeping soldiers. But as you can see, there is plenty of variation in the way artists captured this story, none more so than the way they depicted an angel, a figure that sometimes looks very human and sometimes completely ethereal, and anything in between. The Italian artist Tommaso Salini mainly focuses on the 2 central characters, Peter and the angel, while you can hardly see one of the sleeping soldiers in the right background. The angel has just surprised Peter by taking his chains off and he points in the direction of the exit of the jail, where they will have to go. Salini really made a great effort in capturing the wings of the angel in wonderful detail. The German-Dutch Baroque artist Hendrik van Steenwijk de Jonger painted this subject more than 25 times. But he was mainly an architectural painter, so he opted for a large, vaulted prison, where the architecture seems even more important than the story. In this version, there are about 11 prison guards who seem to suddenly have been overcome with a deep sleep. Like these guys who seem to have been put to sleep in the middle of their card game. Note that here the angel is not the source of the light, but that the light comes instead from the candles hanging from the ceiling. In another version by the same artist, you can hardly identify Peter and the angel, but my best guess is that the 2 figures on the far left are Peter and the angel leaving prison. The Flemish artist Jacob de Bakker painted this dynamic version of Saint Peter and the angel during the second half of the 16th century, combining the Northern and Italian Renaissance styles. Interestingly, he includes 2 separate moments from this story. The female-looking angel at the center has just freed Saint Peter, and on the upper left we can see how they are leaving prison together, while the 4 soldiers are asleep. And the angel of José Antolines is also looking very feminine with her colorful shirt and skirt. The Angel of de Bakker contrasts nicely with this intense painting by Gaetano Gandolfi from the second half of the 18th century, as he decided to paint an angel more as a male figure, staring closely at a somewhat apathic and unexpected Saint Peter. But perhaps most commonly, the angel is a more androgynous figure, like in these paintings by a Dutch follower of Caravaggio named Hendrik ter Brugghen, although one of these was painted by a follower of him. The most noticeable thing in these works by Ter Brugghen is the response of Saint Peter, one of the most revered people in Christian religion, yet he seems really surprised by the sudden appearance of an angel. The painting of Jacob de Bakker we saw earlier was very much a Baroque painting, which emphasized the drama, dynamics and movements in this scene. Compare that to the Russian artist Andrei Ryabushkin, who painted this story more in line with the Russian tradition of icon paintings, much calmer and a focus on the faces of each individual. Looking at Saint Peter and the angel, they are looking straight at us. but the angel clearly comes from a different world than Saint Peter. Returning to the painting of Jacob de Bakker, we can see some lit candles in the background, but it does not seem to be the main light source. While the angel is mostly painted in the light, she also does not seem to be the source of light herself. Speaking of the light source, during the 18th century, the German artist Johann Georg Trautmann stuck closely to the biblical story that the angel was lighting up the prison, and he chose for an ethereal appearance of the angel. And in line with the miraculous angel lighting up the cell, even though the biblical story does not explicitly mention how the angel lit up the prison, he also captured 2 sleeping guards. But notice that one of them is still standing up, emphasizing the miraculous elements of this story. The Spanish artist Bartolomé Esteban Murillo had a very similar interpretation of this story, where the androgynous angel was the source of light and freed Peter from his shackles to guide him out of prison, painted very much in the Baroque style with relatively strong contrast between light and dark. Around 1625, Leonard Bramer chose the most pragmatic solution with regards to the light source, by just providing the angel with a torch while leading Peter out. Antonio de Bellis focused on the main elements of the scene: the open prison door, the surprise of the elderly Saint Peter, the muscular angel, and the 2 sleeping soldiers. Compared to some of the other artists, he really stuck to the basic elements of the biblical story. Well, I hope you found this discussion interesting. I actually hope to do 1 or more videos on the appearances and identification of angels in art history, but it's a pretty complicated subject, so I figured this may be a nice introduction to that. If you enjoyed this video, you can help out the channel by clicking the thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment down below with your thoughts and ideas. Thanks for watching.